All right. Hillary's email scandal, a major development, and it was dumped on Friday afternoon, one of those dumps that you get in the news media. It was ignored by the mainstream media, but not by us. Brian Pagliano, the former State Department staffer who set up the private email server in the first place, is not going to testify before Congress. Judge Napolitano says that's bad news for Hillary. How do you get to that point? More bad news for Hillary.
A little bit of background. Brian Pagliano received either a promise from the Justice Department not to prosecute or an actual order of immunity from a federal judge, one or the other. But whichever he received, it has induced him to cooperate with the Justice Department. So of the 5 people closest to Mrs. Clinton involving this email scandal when she was Secretary of State, Mr. Pagliano is one of them, and he's guiding the FBI through.
He's singing. He's singing to
absolutely.
the FBI.
And among what he's telling them is, he was paid $5,000 to commit a felony, and the felony was to take her secret email stream from a safe, secure government server and migrate it to her own server.
So the issue is who told him to do that?
Well, he has told the FBI that Mrs. Clinton did. What else he's telling them? Yes. What else he's telling them and how he's navigating them through the servers, there's more than one, which they now have, we don't know. But here's the significance of him not testifying before the Judiciary Committee and the Judiciary Committee accepting his determination not to testify. The FBI does not want him singing to the Judiciary Committee in public because that will tell Mrs. Clinton and her lawyers what he has told the FBI. And they do not want her to know that before they interrogate her.
Now, I've got more on that particular item that you just talked about.
Yes.
Senator Chuck Grassley, he said on Friday, he's the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, as you well know. Now, here's the quote. You have to interpret this. If there's political interference, then I assume that somebody in the FBI is going to leak these reports, and it's either going to have an effect politically or it's going to lead to prosecution if there's enough evidence. He's saying openly the FBI will leak it.
Okay, in fairness to Senator Grassley, he says later on, I'm not encouraging such a leak because it would be a crime. But humans are humans. Here's what he's saying. And anybody who knows the law and has looked at the evidence can say this. The evidence sufficient to obtain an indictment is overwhelming. The publicly known evidence, never mind what the FBI knows, the publicly known evidence to obtain a conviction is overwhelming. So if the Justice Department does not present this evidence to a grand jury, there will be such an outcry, fueled by likely leaks by the FBI, that the political effect of such an outcry will be as catastrophic for Mrs. Clinton as if she had been indicted. Because it will look like she's guilty and she's hiding under the protection of the Democrats that run the Justice Department.
You see, I don't think this is getting out. I mean, I've not heard the email scandal mentioned much, if at all, over the entire weekend.
Okay, well, Chris Wallace had quite a dust-up with Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz yesterday, in which she referred to the email investigation as ludicrous and said Colin Powell did the same thing. And Chris just nailed her and said, wait a minute, Colin Powell may have inadvertently sent some classified material over his Gmail account. He didn't have his own computer servers in his house. He didn't divert 30,000 government emails to his own server and take them away from a government venue. How can you possibly compare those two? And Mrs. Wasserman Schultz was not able to answer.
So the bottom line is that Hillary is still in very deep political and legal trouble.
And the more she and her surrogates, like Mrs. Wasserman Schultz, mock the FBI, the deeper her troubles become.
Give me a time frame. I mean, I know it's almost impossible to do that.
That is troubling, Stuart, because last October, Director Comey hinted January. Okay, we're now in April. In January, he hinted May. Now, he recently has said, we have no timetable. Honestly, he owes it to the American people and candidly to the Democratic Party. They need to know if they're about to nominate someone who's going to be a defendant in a criminal prosecution. And remember, there's another investigation of her for public corruption. The allegations are that while Secretary of State, she made official decisions using her governmental authority to benefit foreign persons and governments that made heavy contributions to her husband's foundation and to her husband's pocketbook.
Well, could both of these be delayed until after the election? Is that possible?
That would be reprehensible for justice, particularly if she's elected.
But it's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Wow.
Sting was in the tail right there. All right, Jess, thank you very much indeed.